Mark
There's
Schofield.
Mark
How
Schofield.
you doing, man?
What's going on, friends?
It is
Thanks.
so
Thank you
great
for
to have
waiting
you.
for us for a little bit. We had a fun guest that I hadn't. It's an old friend of mine that I hadn't seen in forever, so we went long. As you know, that happens with me when we go out.
Absolutely no worries, friends. I'm just happy to be here, even if it's for just 5 minutes to see your bright and smiling faces this afternoon.
I'm just want to say, Riz, I was texting him, hey, we got to go. Mark's on here, man. And I really like Mark. I want to talk to him. He's like, F him. I'm talking.
Yeah, I mean,
you know how
that's
it
fair.
Is, right? Yeah.
That's more than fair. I mean, I understand. I would expect nothing less from my good buddy Jeff Risden.
Yeah. So, welcome to the St. Jude Telethon. We have raised a crap ton of money, and we're very grateful for that. Thank you for agreeing to join us.
For real, man.
It's great. I just wanted to get your thoughts on, so you now work for SBNation. It's kind of a national type thing. Your thoughts from afar on what you're seeing with the Detroit Lions.
Let me put it this way. As most of you probably know, I am a Patriots fan. You can see over my left shoulder here, lots of Patriots paraphernalia. We are obviously live here on December 9th. I would much rather be a fan of the Lions right now than the Patriots. I think that's a very fair assessment because the Patriots right now are struggling to find any sort of identity, particularly in the passing game, thanks in large part to a familiar face, one Matthew Patricia. Whereas the Lions, they've got it's an outside shot, but they've got a path to get into the playoffs. And I really think that beyond that, I think the future looks a lot brighter in Detroit than it certainly does in New England. It's so, as somebody from afar watching, from the outside, I'd rather be a Lions fan. And interestingly enough, I talked myself into Detroit this summer. I remember coming on with you guys and saying, hey, they're going to be, when we get to the holidays, there's going to be those graphics and it's going to say in the hunt and the Detroit Lions are still going to be in there. They're not going to be 500. It might be 6-7 or 5-7 or something like that, but they're going to be there. That's where they're at. It's been fun to watch. It's a fun team to watch. It's a fun organization to watch. Among those who has talked myself into Dan Campbell. I'm very curious about what's going to happen this offseason, what's going to happen going forward. I mean, the Lions are in a fantastic position, thanks to what's happening with the Los Angeles Rams, to go in a number of different directions at the top of the draft. And so it's very exciting to watch. Lions fans have to be excited to see it. And I know that there's obviously discussions about what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks, what's going to happen next spring. But as a Patriots fan, I would rather be in your shoes than in mine.
Good. So Fab has delivered the pies. He just delivered them to my family. So
Mark, are you familiar with what happened earlier?
No. What did I miss?
Oh, you'll enjoy this very quickly. It's just a quick replay. We'll get it real quick here. Just watch your screen. I can watch it all day.
That's going to wind up in a DM we're in.
I was just going to say, can I possibly get a copy of that clip, Chris? That will come in handy immediately.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter. I know if DM works. Oh, it's great. And there's 2 more on tap. If we can get ourselves up another $400 here and get to $20,000, he's got 2 pies that are being delivered right now that he's going to take from his wife and his daughter on camera. So these will be the next ones. This is only that one. Yes. The one you saw was from a guy named Micro Mike. He's also a YouTuber, does a lot of Lions work, and he's great guy. Lives near Jeff, and we just we've done some collab stuff with him, and I decided, let me just see if Mike can get free today, and he could. And he called in from the store, shopping, the whole thing. It was great.
Chris, if you're telling me that I would be able to smash a pie in Risden's face, I'd be on the next flight. I mean, I just don't know if I got the reach. That's the only question. I mean, Jeff is very, very tall. On you. You got a little bit of height on me, my friend.
We'll get a stool.
Yeah,
that's all right.
This isn't something we're going to recreate in Mobile or Indy.
We could set it up like the basketball dunking, like the little trampoline where you bounce up and try to slam.
Oh, that would be tremendous. I mean, because then there's opportunities for extra hijinks, like to see me blow out my knee, jumping off a trampoline.
Backflip,
people would pay extra for that. I know.
We got to be safe in our advancing age, Mark.
Seriously.
Oh man!
So just to go back to the Lions for a second, if we can, since we are ostensibly a Lions show, and what you're seeing from Jared Goff, are you convinced that he can be the quarterback for the future? Because people know you were a college quarterback. You study quarterbacks better than anybody I know. I turn to you on any quarterback advice, and I'll respect your opinion on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be the huge discussion and debate, and with good reason, over the next couple of weeks. Because when you're looking at an opportunity to have a top 5 pick, maybe a top 3 pick, depending on how things shake out over the next couple of weeks, you might have your pick of the quarterbacks in this class. Now, what's interesting is, as we are having this discussion at this very moment, what is playing out in the football evaluation world is something that the three of us have seen every season for the past like 5, 6, 7 years, which is we started back in August with an idea that this was going to be a franchise altering, perhaps multiple franchise altering quarterback class, right? CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, it's going to be tremendous. These guys are fantastic. You're going to get other guys that have risen, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson. But now as we get into December and January and bowl season is when people start saying, I don't know, Caleb Williams looks really nice. And, now we're getting Michael Penix Jr. is coming back next year. And, this Drake May kid down the road, he's going to be – we always go through this cycle of we build up a quarterback class in the summer, and I'm as guilty of this as anybody else, and we chip away at them as we get into December. And that's what's happening right now. So that's the sort of framework and foundation of this discussion. For Jared Goff specifically, has he done enough where I think if you're the Lions – and you have an opportunity to draft a player that is a top player on your board at 3, at 4, I think he's at least opened the door to that possibility. I wouldn't. I still think that Jared Goff, the limits, the limitations, the ceiling, the fact that everything needs to still sort of be right around him for him to be at his best is enough that, if there's a quarterback that you have graded highly and he is staring you in the face at 3 and 4, you draft him. You can still, roll out with Jared Goff to start next season. But I think if there is, as an organization, a quarterback that you had graded high enough, then you entertain that. But if there isn't, and as we're seeing right now, as people have really sort of dug in onto Stroud and dug in onto Bryce Young, and I know, Jeff, we've talked about size concerns with Bryce Young. Are you going to draft a guy that's basically built like a 1990s slot receiver, in the top 5? Like, that's a legitimate concern. And I just saw a question sort of, pop up, Goff or Jones. Like, I think that's sort of it's an interesting parallel, because I think the Giants are in a similar discussion, which is, everything needs to go right for Daniel Jones, and they're in a position where maybe like a short-term deal or something like that. So
it's the purgatory like the Bengals went through with Andy Dalton.
It's like he's good enough to get you close.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins is in that status with Minnesota. This is kind of his shot. This is where their window's open.
Right.
We see that a lot. We saw a team like Kansas City make that leap with, going up and getting Patrick Mahomes when they already had Alex Smith. And it worked out pretty well for them.
And
there's no guarantee that's going to happen, though. There's
no guarantee that that's going to happen. I mean, and that's why I've seen some on Lions Twitter sort of say, well, what about the pick that right now is slotted at 15? Like, what about, if you come out of this draft with, say, a Jalen Carter, who's, a game-changing type of interior defensive tackle, and then at 15, Anthony Richardson is there. I mean, that's one scenario. Now, would Anthony Richardson be there? Number one, would you be comfortable drafting Anthony Richardson, given that he's probably, and I've seen the 2-year project. I don't think it's that much, but he's got some work to do. That might be an approach. And so, ultimately, look, Goff has gotten you to this point. I think we know what his limitations are. Like, he's a very good quarterback when he's in rhythm, on schedule, when things are going right for him, both around him in terms of talent and with respect to what's happening on a down-to-down basis. He's very good with his eyes. Like, he's a good quarterback. He's a guy that I had graded QB1 coming out. Like, I'm a fan of Jared Goff, generally speaking. But with an opportunity perhaps to draft a game-changing type quarterback at the top of the draft, it's something I think you at least have to explore. To his credit, though, Goff has opened the door to the discussion about him continuing as the starting quarterback, which I think is a huge thing to see. It's a part of the reason why the Lions are in the mix right now, and he deserves a ton of credit for that. So if Brad Holmes ultimately decides that, look, we're going to roll with Jared Goff, I could understand given what we've seen. I wouldn't do it, but I'm just a dude sitting in his basement right now.
This is my problem with the whole and the Anthony Richardson at 15 is definitely interesting. And you're right. I watched just about every snap of his this year in Florida because son's a freshman. So you got to buy the shirts. But so watched a lot of Florida football this year, and he's a project. He's a project. I don't know what that project does if you bring him in, what the effect is on Jared Goff in the meantime, and do you wind up with two problems instead of maybe some sort of one? And so the Lions are averaging 26.5 points per game this season. The 3 games at the beginning of the season are the most obvious ones they lost because they scored 35 at least in every one of the games and they lost them. That tells me it's not a Jared Goff problem. That tells me if you have a defense that's at number 20, and if I think of my first 3-4 draft picks, how I could physically change the very core of that defense into something that suddenly you're winning games if Jared Goff is scoring 20 points. I mean, and the receivers, and that was a big problem too, the receiver injuries. I really believe Goff can do it. Everyone says the situation has to be perfect or whatever. We had Matthew Stafford, who's a spectacular quarterback, and he couldn't win a playoff game. You know what I mean? I just have this feeling that we're placing a little too much on one guy versus. Go ahead.
And Chris, it's interesting because we're also sort of at what might be, or what could be in the near future, an inflection point in the NFL. We know that scoring is down, right? Scoring is down around the league. I don't know if we're quite at the point this year that the ability to win sort of rock fights, like 17-14 games and 20-17 games is enough, but it might be, say, next year or the year after. Mm-hmm. And if you're telling me that, okay, you've decided that, look, Jared Goff and this offense can do enough, we need to really sort of build this defense, we're going to take it 3 or at 4 Jalen Carter. And then we're on the clock 15, 16, wherever that pick ends up. Cam Smith, a corner from South Carolina, or, Ringo, the corner from Georgia, all that you might know. But you just take 2 defensive players to really sort of put your defense in a position where at all the levels you've got talent. That sets you up to, in the year after, to be even closer to winning those rock fights. And then you don't have to put up 31, 35, 28 points. Your defense is better. That's a path.
And that feels
the fact that the NFL discussion is changing, where that's more of a possibility than it was, say, 5 years ago, maybe they do go that way.
And then I feel like that at that point, the pressure is off nailing the quarterback. Right. Then you don't, because the other part of it is Jared Goff. I'd say he's right in the middle of the NFL. Okay, he's number 16. Right now, that means he's the 16th best in the world. If you hit on a quarterback, which is really rare to get one, but let's say we get the 10th best in the world, is that incremental change enough versus what you would get from building the defense, right? And this is the argument I continue to have with myself, and I have it out loud with other people because it's one that I'm kind of internally having. How much better do you have to get at quarterback to really make that pick worth it versus creating an infuriating defense for other teams that allows your offense? It's proved it can put points on the board to work at the level that it works at, and that's kind of where I keep.
It's a fascinating discussion, especially given the context of the NFL writ large right now, where the game seems to be trending away from, like, say, 4 years ago, 7 years ago, 10 years ago, like the difference between QB 16 and QB 8 might have been a Super Bowl. Yeah. Now it's like not that much, given what we're seeing league wide, given the fact that defenses are figuring some things out. They're keeping scoring down. The sort of too high world that we're living in, it's forcing quarterbacks to be patient and take what's there, which is the sort of quarterback that Jared Goff is at times. And the other thing is, of course, the thing that makes my job easy, and the fact that I can still have one, is we get quarterbacks wrong all the time. We get quarterbacks wrong. The league gets quarterbacks wrong. I mean, we're doing this again on Friday. We just saw Baker Mayfield on it, fly cross country and have a good game, but it's for his third team in 2 seasons. He was a first overall pick. We get quarterbacks
wrong. 5 months.
Yeah, I mean, look, we get it wrong. Teams get it wrong. The the Detroit Lions might have quarterback X, Y, or Z graded as their top quarterback on the board, but there's no guarantee that if you draft him at 3, if you draft him at 15, that it's going to work out.
I sorry, Anonymous just pushed us over. And Mark, you're absolutely. I love your analysis. I love talking to you. I say it every time, but you are one of my favorite people to talk to because you bring a really good. You got a good head, and you don't dismiss me like Riz does.
It's an okay head. It's an okay head. I mean, let's be honest.
But we just crossed the 20,000 mark. 20,000 even, except for the 69 cents because that's who we are.
That's what we do.
It's like that all the time. People will break it and it always winds back up. $20,000.69. Thank you all so much for getting us there. This is 2 pies in the face for Riz. If you want to kind of work with that in the background, Riz, I'm
on it.
Okay, good.
I have to sign out here, but I will get in on the phone. I got it up here.
Okay, let's do it after Brian. How about? Is that okay? Because Brian, we got Brian at 5:10.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, no, I think actually my family's gonna have to leave before then, so
okay,
we'll have to squeeze it in between.
Okay,
if we can.
All right. Hopefully Brian will squeeze with us.
Yeah, let's hope so.
He's a rock star. He's not used to going on time anymore.
Yeah. So, because we are NFC North related, I want to ask you real quick. Aaron Rodgers, is it over? Maybe. Is it over?
It might be. I mean, he seemed at times sort of checked out this year. I'm sure you guys have been on shows where you've been asked, I've been on shows where I've been asked, has he checked out? Is he tanking? Like I was at the bus stop picking up my daughter a couple of nights ago, and neighbor down the street is a Packers fan. He's like, is Rodgers just tanking it? Like he has seemed checked out at times. Now, maybe look, the emergence of Christian Watson as sort of an explosive playmaker for them, maybe that's enough to sort of reel him back in. But trying to get into his head is a scary proposition. Right?
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
I don't have enough Ayukasa to get there, and I don't know if I'll ever have enough to get there.
It's another Hannibal Lecter movie.
Yeah, it's a scary place. In my head, scary enough as it is, but it might be it. Like, he certainly seems to have interests outside of football. Let's just put it that way. And maybe he just decides that, look, I want to go, host a podcast somewhere and go to Argentina and live there. Like he might be checked out.
Get my perineum suntanned.
Yeah.
Well, at least he's immunized wherever it is that he's been. Let's see really quick. Floundericious 75 with pies. Alex H 100. Fab 40 Pyriz. Mike from East Oregon, keep up the good work. FTP for $20. Akalesh $50. Let's cream Risden. 4 p.m. match from Flounder. Chad H $10 and Wisco $250. Eat an effing bean case.
Everybody wants me to have a facial. That's great.
Oh man, yeah.
Put that one in the blooper reel.
Well, the video with it, because you're so like despondent and leaning back. Everyone wants that.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say it. No one's getting that me.
Somebody, yeah, good times. Yeah, so Mark, we are not doing facials in Mobile this year.
Good God, no.
Just
We're not
cream
doing
pies.
That.
Just cream pies. Oh
yeah.
Balloon time in the background. How many balloons right now? 13 more. That means $1,300
right.
in the last hour.
Cool.
Thank you very much. Filling the room with more balloons. It gets bigger and bigger. The idea is I did some loose calculations here, and the room should be full of balloons if we hit the goal, which will be me in this kind of circusy, creepy kind of atmosphere.
9 a.m. tomorrow morning is going to be a wild time here. Let me tell
I'm certainly tuning back in for that.
Please do. Tell your friends.
Absolutely.
And,
I will.
Tell your friends that have money to give to St. Jude's. Not that we sports writers have money, but
no. Our non-sports writer friends can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. One other question. So, Will Levis, where are you at on him?
It's interesting. Like I knew we would be talking quarterback, so I like rewatched some stuff.
That's what we do.
Like, because that's what we do. And I can understand in some sense the allure. I think, it's kind of the idea that like the idea of Will Levis is interesting because he has a nice arm. Like he made some throws under pressure this year that I rewatching him today, I was kind of impressed by, but there again is work to be done. Like he's, less of a sure thing than some of the other guys in this class. Now, the idea that he could be the first quarterback taken, that one doesn't quite sit right with me because of, again, the work that needs to be done. But I get the allure. I know that you see the Josh Allen comparison, right? And people are saying, oh, he's the next Josh Allen. Well, Josh Allen might be one of one. Like Josh Allen had a lot of work to do. And if Josh Allen gets drafted by another franchise, he might not be the Josh Allen that we see today. And it's not a sure thing. Like, if you think you can get Will Levis to where his ceiling is, you better have a proven track record of development. It's a situation where if I'm a general manager, I'm walking into my offensive coordinator's office, my quarterback coach's office, and I'm telling you, how confident are you can really get this kid to where he needs to be? They might tell you they can. They probably will because they're stubborn. They're NFL coaches. They're not going to say, look, we can't. But I'm not so sure if you ask those people if they've had an adult beverage or two, if they could guarantee they would. And that's the issue. He's got work to do. The talent is there. But are you sure, particularly if you're going to do it at 3, at 4, at 5, are you sure you can get him where he needs to be?
There you go. So Riz, how do you want to do this? I can keep Mark on for a few if you want to run out and fire up your phone, and Mark and
I will do that.
And then Mark can see it actually happen live if you still got a few minutes, Mark.
I do. For this, I got a few minutes. Absolutely.
All right. So I will sign out and I will re-sign in on my phone.
Okay, you sign out and I'll fix your name. For a minute, Mark, you're going to be Jeff Risden, so...
might be the best couple of minutes of my day.
Oh man, I'm not sure about all that, but
quick, somebody take a screen cap of that so I can just have that one in the little memory bank. Oh, it's gone. I hope we grabbed it.
I wouldn't do that to anybody, especially you. So let me ask you. Let me put you a little bit on the spot. Is Matt Patricia in New England actually that bad? I know the offense isn't flowing the way you guys want.
Yeah.
He was basically run out of Detroit on a rail. There's a lot of dislike for him. I have to say, this whole thing started when he was at the combine. I was sitting in a hotel room in California, and at the combine when he was first becoming coach of the Lions, he came into Eisen, gave him what Eisen said was a substantial check. And Eisen's like, oh, cool, let's talk about it. He's like, no, I don't want to just take it and go. And he left, and Eisen was like really taken aback that he didn't want to sit around and take all the credit and mac at the camera or anything. He just wanted to give the money, and that was that. So there's and I met him at Senior Bowl one year. Class dude, really nice guy. I mean, he was generally a guy that I thought was good. I felt like Matt Patricia as a head coach, though, tried to be something he wasn't. He was very inauthentic, and people saw through it.
Yeah.
But he's in a way he's a hero in New England. So you guys have to be kind of two minds over there, right? What's kind of the sense? No,
not anymore. I mean, look, he is a nice guy. Like everybody that I know who has talked to him and interacted with him, that is interacting with him now up in New England, speaks the world of him as a person. But the offense is not working. I think part of the problem, Chris, is he's trying to be offensive coordinator and play caller for the first time in a long time, ever.
Right.
And also be the offensive line coach. Those are two big jobs. And the New England Patriots, for years, they had Dante Scarnecchia, one of the best offensive line coaches ever. Like, probably could get into the Hall of Fame as an assistant offensive line coach, because of the work that he did. And now with Patricia trying to do both, it's proven to be a lot. Yeah. So I think that's part of it. Also, look, you watch that Patriots offense, whether it's me, whether it's Dan Orlovsky, whether it's, Kurt Warner, like everybody that's watched this offense and studied it has come away with the idea that, look, they're running a lot of day one install stuff, like your basic stuff over and over and over again. Orlovsky has basically criticized it for like being boring. Warner basically said he would be bored to tears running it. There's a lack of attention to details. And that's kind of the problem right now. And another thing, and I know people like me, we say it all the time, it's the easy rote answer. Look, run more play action, right? Patriots, Mac Jones, he has an adjusted completion percentage of 86.2. on play action plays this year, which is 6th best in the NFL. Like that's good. Yeah. When you're an offense that is struggling to create in the passing game, that's struggling to create explosive plays, you would think, hey, guys doing that at that kind of level, and the film matches up. Like you watch the Thanksgiving night game, the play action seam throw to Hunter Henry, for example. It's like, wow, this is great. Mac Jones has also attempted just 51 play action passes, which is 32nd in the league. Taylor Heineke, who has played in 7 games as opposed to Jones's 9, he's attempted 77, and he's like league average. I'm not even saying you have to get to like the top of the league in it. Just get to league average. Now, there's a feeling around the Patriots that like, look, they're not running the ball like they were last year. Last year, they were one of the best run games in the league. They're like league average right now. There's a thought that like maybe they feel like they can't run play action because they can't run the ball well. No, we know you could still run play action. So yeah, it hasn't been great. I think, look, if they hire an offensive line coach and let Patricia be offensive coordinator, it could work better, but it hasn't been great, my friend.
Yep. All right. Let me turn off Riz here again. Sorry, he turned into Riz at the last moment. Okay, Riz, we've got you. And you're here for it, Mark. This is great. How's it going, Riz?
This myself.
How's the snow, buddy? Uh-oh. Wait, don't do anything until we get...
Let me switch the around.
This is Western Michigan living.
Hold it this way.
There we go.
Hey, Riz.
All right. First, we got to show the pies. I've got the pie. One says, I love James Houston. The other one says, no problem.
No problem.
Great. I earned that. So this is vindication for you, James Houston, and all you James Houston, the problem fans.
Oh, please.
Is this okay?
All right.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
Here we go.
Is he still in the picture? Can you look, make sure? Lovely.
All this money is fake. We only do this to Riz. He doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, it's the best part, though.
You want to get in the towel?
That's for the children.
That is great.
It's for the kids.
Mark, I'm so glad you got to see that, buddy.
Look at that.
I got it here, too.
All right, I think we're going to sign out and I'll get cleaned up and be back. We recorded it.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Riz.
I think you can kill it.
He said they recorded it, so we'll have the unbroken copy too.
Awesome.
And I will distribute that again. Just give me the follow on the Twitter, and we'll make sure we get that to you.
Stand by.
All right.
Yeah.
I want to kick you off, Riz. Okay.
Should be off.
All right. Remove. Hi, Riz. Nice having you.
That was tremendous. That was worth it right there.
Yeah. We'll have he looks like he should be on stage with Kiss. Thank you, Fab, for the pies, man. The delivery was perfect. He said they shot video of it, so we'll have video of it as well. Don't worry about the kind of choke there on the outside. They didn't flip from Wi-Fi. Little bit of challenge with the technology in the Risen House, but that's okay. The cream mile, I like that. Cream mile, we'll keep that one as handy. All right, looks like a snowman. Yeah, that was great. We'll see what else we can get him to agree to.
Yeah, and if there's anything I can do to help, let me know.
Maybe we can get him to agree to do something at the Senior Bowl. You'll be there with us this year, right?
It's up in the air right now. I hope so.
Okay.
But we're still waiting to hear back.
Okay. If you can get out there, let me know. Like just
Yep.
DM me. Let me know. We'll figure something out. We'll set up
Absolutely.
a deal. That'd be cool.
Absolutely. We get them to eat. What was that? The beer garden where they have the burger with the glazed donut.
Yeah,
as the
load
bun?
up. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
He does that for fun though. I mean, that's not even.
Yeah, but we gotta make him eat too.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Now see now you're talking. Take something he likes and make him hate it.
Yeah, exactly. So he doesn't want to eat it again.
Oh man. So Mark, everything else going okay for you guys? I know you moved over to SBNation. Life good?
Yeah. Life is great, man. I'm loving it. It is a dream gig so far. But no, just credit to you guys. I love what you guys do this every year. It's always great to see. And I'm gonna, when I hop off here, I'm gonna make sure I'll tell people to come over and check it out and donate and give what they can, because it's such, St. Jude's something that it's something that's actually near and dear to me too. For personal reasons. So the fact that you guys do this, I love to see it every year.
Appreciate it. We had one on earlier today. It was my cousin. She lost her son earlier this year. It was heart-wrenching. It was so hard to get through. But this is the first year that it's been that close. But we all know somebody or related to somebody who's had to deal with it, and to be able to try to do something. I mean, we're lucky. We're in a position where we have a little bit of a voice, and we can try to make the world a better place for these people. And that's what it's all about. Taking that and trying to be good. And when you're good, other people start to be good. We can maybe make the world a better place instead of this kind of
that would be tremendous.
So, are you familiar with I Prevail?
I am.
Oh, we got Brian, the clean vocalist, coming on next. Brian, he'll be on, talk some fun stuff from there as well.
That's awesome.
All right. So, what's you're the Lions. I mean, straight up, you have to make your pick. You get number 4 in the draft.
4
right now today with where things are.
I think I am very intrigued by the draft best player available at 4, and then see what happens in the middle of the round. If that pick ends up like right now, it's 15, 16, 18, something like that. If say an Anthony Richardson is there and you feel comfortable that you can get him where he needs to be, or even Will Levis and you feel comfortable you can get him where he needs to be, then I'd be okay with that. If you're not comfortable with that, or those guys aren't there, draft another great defensive player or another great game-changing type of player. As we've been talking, I think the idea that with the way the league is trending and the fact that you could add 2 extremely talented players and have an opportunity to maybe a second round or someplace, take a flyer on a quarterback or something like that. Maybe look, we saw this time last year, Malik Willis was QB1, right? And he was going to go early. And we all knew that. And there was an idea that that's what the Lions were going to do at the top of the first round, where they were going to draft Malik Willis. He fell to the 3rd.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that Malik Willis and Levis and Richardson are like the same caliber talents, but you might see one of those guys fall. You might see one of those guys fall to the top of the 2nd, to a point where you might be in a position as Detroit to come up. So sitting here right now, December 9th, Jalen Carter, if he's there, Will Anderson. I mean, imagine Will and Hutchinson, opposite sides of each other. Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about getting after it.
Yeah, it is. And the other part, I think I think it's a little bit different now in the NFL too than it was even just a couple of years ago. I don't think you have to draft your quarterback anymore. I think the trade world for draft picks and other gold we saw it with
for a couple of reasons. Like, teams are willing to move on from quote unquote mistakes earlier. Mm-hmm. We've seen that. The trade market has become something, like you said, Chris, that teams are exploring more and more. Like, the rookie quarterback deals have made it so that, like, quarterbacks on rookie deals that don't quite pan out, it's easier to move them.
Yep.
If for whatever reason Aaron Rodgers decides, like, hey, he wants to go back, like, and Jordan Love becomes a tradable commodity at some point, or another quarterback, like, hey, the Patriots might not be sold on Mac Jones, or the Jets might not be sold on Zach Wilson. Like, there might be quarterbacks available where, you could take a flyer that way rather than going down the draft path. So, they don't have to force a quarterback pick. That's the sort of beauty of what, say, Jared Goff has done this year, or say what Geno Smith has done out in Seattle. Like, teams now, like the Lions, the Seahawks, they're in a great spot right now because they don't have to force a quarterback pick. Yeah. If there's one you love and you just fall for a guy and he's there, sure, you can draft him. You don't have to force it. That's a great spot to be in.
Yeah. And that's an interesting, that's a conversation I have and I'm not saying this of you, but I really have a hard time with, because you'll say, if your guy's there, draft him. You get a quarterback. You got to, if he's, well, that's an obvious statement. And the next thing is, so who's your guy? Is your guy? Well, I leave that to the team. Well, then don't say draft a quarterback, because they may not have a guy there. Well, if your guy's there, you got to draft. It's like, no, you're in a circular argument, right? And if they don't draft it, you're not going to say, well, their guy wasn't there. You're going to say, oh, they didn't get a quarterback. So either own your position or not, and have a guy, right? And I just don't think, personally, I don't think the guy is there this year. And everyone says, well, they say that every year. Last year's was a bad draft class, and the year, the year before was a little bit better. Trevor Lawrence was of course the guy, and I would love to have Trevor Lawrence today. I think he had a tough year on Urban Meyer. Right?
If Lawrence was in this draft class, it's like, yeah, you draft him at 4. Like that's the guy. Like I'm with you. Like I don't know, sitting here now again as I dive back into these guys, like maybe the opinion changed, but sitting here right now, I don't know if I really see a top 5 guy in this quarterback class.
Yep. And this is the time of year, right, when you really do start diving in. It's when you say, now I'm going to go deep on these guys and find out what I see. It's just, I got a vibe about Anthony Richardson, and I feel like I see what people see. I totally see it. I see he can grow into that fella, if you will. But what I saw, and I watched him this year, I'm just not sold that he's it. And I don't mind investing, like you said, 15th, maybe a second rounder if he's around. Okay. I mean, he's a sophomore coming out of college. He's got all kinds of time and to develop, but just gosh, I mean, people say, well, I don't see Goff able to put the team on their back. And I'm like, well, Richardson is playing at a college, and he's got a 6-6 team under his belt. I'm not sure he put him on his back either. He did a lot of great things, but he made a lot of boneheaded plays too. He made a lot of really, really bad plays that people would flip their lids on in Detroit if he started rolling around doing that. They'd be wishing for Jared Goff.
Yeah. I mean, you could see, like, he had a throw against Florida State, the touchdown where he's like got the eyes to the left, brings it back to the right. It's like you could see, like, in glimpses like that, like, are there enough of those where you're convinced that, like, you can take that, turn him into an NFL quarterback? He's got work to do.
Riz is supposed to be joining here. It just took longer.
Meanwhile, you got like 2 of me. There we go.
There we go. Okay. It's going to get worse as I get more tired.
yeah. Which is why, like, I'm going to be tuning back in for this.
Oh, it'll be great. I think we got crabs in the morning. Kyle Krabs, right, Riz?
Yes, we do.
So that will be ideal, because we're going to have some of the hottest shite takes you've ever seen. And Kyle's going to say, who are these dopes that I'm talking to? Oh, okay, yeah. Mark.
I had to shower. I had blue crap all over my face.
All right, Mark, we have to let you go. We've got Brian from I Prevail coming up, and we need to get to him. Riz, you've got all the stuff you need to talk to him, right, to get the link and everything?
With Brian?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I will.
Cool.
I will.
Mark,
send that to him right
love
now.
You, man. Like I said, hit
love
me with that follow. I'll get you the video, and love to have you on more. Let's
absolutely.
Let's work on that,
you know where to find me, guys.
Yep. All right, we'll talk to you, man.
All right.
All right, we'll see you.